A report. Employers spend $340 million per year on union avoidance consultants who teach tactics to discourage unionization. That doesn't sound very nice.
I would say, either.
Right? I mean, unions are supposed to be looking out for the workers and making sure that they're not getting bad wages. And especially in this day and age when it seems like corporations are reaping record profits and we're all stuck trying to find some low-paying menial job. Doesn't seem like unionization is a bad thing at this point, that we need some bargaining power in that realm. But either way, this is an article I wrote in June. This discusses the kind of people who would be hired to try to get workers not to unionize. Employers spent hundreds of millions in anti-union consultants. Corporations in the United States collectively spend an estimated $340 million per year on union avoidance. Consultants who specialize in tactics to discourage and undermine workers' efforts to unionize. These consultants, often lawyers from major firms, advise employers on legal loopholes and aggressive strategies to prevent unionization. There's a lot of tactics used by these consultants to be aggressive and sometimes illegal, such as forcing employees to attend a mandatory captive audience meeting that deliver anti-union messaging. So you hold a mandatory meeting. If you don't show up, you're fired, and it's going to be 3 hours long, and you're going to be brainwashed with all the lukewarm coffee and stale cookies and VHS tapes about the dangers of unionization. They also threaten to close work sites or fire employees involved in union activity. So if there's any thought or talk, they will come after you. We read last week, Walmart, McDonald's, Tesla, these companies all surveil their employees and look out for these kind of things. This is exactly what Henry Ford did.
We have to watch some anti-union videos on here sometime. That'll be great.
Yeah. You know, call me old-fashioned, but I like unions. I think that they're an important backstop for the working class. Maybe I'm just a nutter. Maybe I'm just a crazy guy. They also have been training managers on how to identify and discourage union organizing efforts. So they get the managerial class to get on with this whole bandwagon. If you hear anybody talking about rising up, let us know and we'll come in and put an end to it. And they're also advising employers on ways to skirt federal labor laws and regulations. So they provide advice, what they call quote unquote advice. Many cross ethical and legal lines by directly interfering with workers' rights through intimidation, surveillance, and other coercive methods. Now, as technology drags on, this is going to be more pervasive, this ability to surveil and oppress people who are in menial working positions, right? So the $340 million spent annually is likely an underestimate, as the loopholes in reporting requirements allows consultants and law firms to avoid disclosing how much their anti-work union is making. Major law firms like Jackson Lewis, Littler, Mendelsohn, and Ogletree and Dinkins earn millions from corporations hiring them to combat unionization efforts. It's a well-funded industry that has been highly effective, with some of the firms boasting 95% success rates in preventing unions. Their influence has contributed to the decline of union membership in the private sector to just 6% as of 2022. So it's been a long history of us fighting capitalists, right? Fighting industrialists over a decent wage.
Not very successfully.
Not very successfully. They're always knocking out the door, and you can't even sleep. You have to sleep with one eye open, because if you don't, they're going to be there to steal your pillow. In 41% of all union election campaigns, Employers are charged with violating federal law by illegally firing, threatening, or retaliating against workers for union activity. Employers collectively spend an estimated $340 million per year on union avoidance. We know that. In 29% of all union elections, employers are charged with illegally coercing, threatening, or retaliating against workers. Number 4, employers force employees to attend mandatory anti-union meetings. It's the deck is stacked against workers. The union membership rate in private sector is only 6%, and the anti-union right-to-work laws in some states contribute to lower union membership rates, with South Carolina and North Carolina having the lowest at 1.7 and 2.8 respectively. So the entire state of both Carolinas have abhorrent unionization policies. There has been some pushbacks. Of course, we saw what happened at Amazon and what happened at Starbucks. They got fired. They're pushing for unionization. They got fired. Then they found that it was unconstitutional, and the person got reinstated in their job somewhere in, I think, Seattle at Starbucks. Younger workers are more willing to challenge the anti-union rhetoric, aided by social media and changing attitudes towards labor rights. So young people are at a point where they're really looking at socialism. There's a high amount, I think the majority now, 50 to 60% of young people are interested in some form of socialism. We're going to have to find new ways to organize and inoculate ourselves against union busting efforts. And this multi-million-dollar union avoidance industry, they're going to be facing a defiant workforce that are going to be demanding a voice on their job, because we're at such a crossroads with inequality and stuff, and it's permeating everything. Like, you can tell things are falling apart from every metric in the United States. And this is one easy way to get it back, is to fight for your right as a worker.